It's National Signing Day. Not like it used to be, but you know what? This is the end, I guess, of the signing period. We had the early period, Alabama, the number 2 class. They'll try to solidify that today with some big time blue chippers that are set to sign with the Crimson Tide. We're going to talk about that and a new coach on defense and a little bit of basketball. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. Let's get this thing started. Roll Tide. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. I'm Mick Gillispie at Broadcaster Mick, and it is great to see all of you guys on National Signing Day. Used to be National Signing Day was an enormous, really event in college football, right? I mean, can you imagine going back in time when Julio Jones put the Alabama hat on and Nick Saban got the Mark Ingrams of the world and, this just one after the other. And then for years, it was like that. And it was in February. It was like the February sporting event. And then they changed it to where you have an early signing period. So it doesn't have the same impact anymore. But Alabama does have some guys today as they try to finish up with the number 2 national signing class. Now, this was all started by Nick Saban. Nick Saban's fingerprints all over this. But Coach Kalen DeBoer has come in, lost a couple of guys, and then went back. And I'll tell you what, where things really started to turn around for him and the staff and Alabama football, not that, I mean, I say turn around, but when it really felt like they were solidifying themselves as the next group to run this thing and keep the dynasty alive, it was when this guy who had decommitted decided to come back to Alabama. Maybe he got a little help from Roll Tide Willie, but Ryan Williams, 5-star prospect, 2-time Mr. Football in Alabama, which has never been done before, a wide receiver out of Saraland High School, and a lifetime Alabama fan, right? Decommitted. He's been hit up by everyone in the business and back with the Crimson Tide. This was a huge win for Alabama. And, a guy who is all set to sign today with the Crimson Tide and make it official. And so I think when you talk about everything that happened for Coach DeBoer and his staff, having him jump on was a huge part of the success that those guys have had. So at 10 a.m., we got that, and we got Noah Carter. I know some of you guys are probably watching after 10 a.m., and we'll be on if anything happens today that, that kind of shakes things up. But Noah Carter, another great prospect. This is a guy who followed Coach DeBoer out of his high school in Arizona to Washington, and then from Washington got out of that commitment and is coming to Alabama. Wanted to play for Coach DeBoer, 4-star prospect, and another big-time guy that Alabama's adding. So as this class, which was put together in the early signing period, is being solidified, 2 of those guys, and then QB Reese out of Ramsey High School, another guy that's excited about playing for Alabama and joining the staff. So those 3 guys, those are the big guys who are signing today to keep an eye on. Ryan Williams, obviously, is the featured guy in this class after Julian Sayin, the 5-star consensus quarterback, transferred from Alabama to Ohio State. But that was also after Austin Mack transferred in, another quarterback. So, that's, I'm sure, a big part of that as well. And for Alabama, National Signing Day has been one of those events that has seen this program build itself up to premier status. It's a really important day. I mean, Nick Saban has made it important. Now, it's not as important as it was before the transfer portal, before NIL. It used to be once you signed, you had to at least be there a year or two before you could get out. And if you transferred, you had to sit. All of that has changed. But at the same time, winning on National Signing Day seems to lead to winning on game days, on Saturdays. So those are the guys to keep an eye on today. Now, other news as far as Alabama is concerned, and that is that they are adding William Inge to the staff. And this is a guy who has coached with DeBoer in years past and a lot of different stops. Indiana, Fresno State, and Washington. He's been with the Huskies the last 2 years as assistant head coach, co-defensive coordinator, and linebackers coach. He's expected to work with linebackers at Alabama, special teams assistant. This is a guy that Coach DeBoer wanted on his staff, and this is a guy that he got, So as this staff starts to fill out, again, going back to Coach DeBoer, going with the guys who he trusts, right? Inge grew up in Kirkwood, Missouri, was a defensive end at Iowa, 93 to 96, played in the NFL for the Tennessee Titans, and then eventually went back to Iowa again, was a graduate assistant, recruiting coordinator. He's coached at places like Northern Iowa, Colorado, San Diego State, and Buffalo, and was an assistant defensive line coach for the Bills. So he's the newest member of Coach DeBoer's staff and a guy that'll be out on you'll see this guy out. He'll be doing his thing here. So DeBoer getting the players that he wants and getting the coaches that he feels comfortable with. Alabama with a huge showdown leading the SEC right now. And they've got this matchup with Auburn tonight. It is an epic matchup. It's at Auburn. It's going to be a really tough game for the Crimson Tide. Good to see, though, that Pringle's coming back after a suspension, so he'll be there to take on the Tigers. The big news is that the coaching staff got a little bit of a shakeup as far as roles go. Nate Oates is trying to figure out a way to get the most out of the coaches and the most out of the players as well. And this team, after taking that loss at Tennessee and a game that they really played poorly in, has turned it around, and they've been playing their best basketball. But that could all change against Auburn in a game where the Tigers have their sights set on beating Alabama. The Tide has beaten them 4 straight times. So keep that in mind as Alabama takes on Auburn, and we'll be keeping an eye on that as well. Want to say to you guys a couple of things. First is that the show is presented by newlifeart.com. A lot of you go to New Life Art and you pimp out your man cave like we've done here with great prints from Daniel Moore. Don't forget to use the promo code Bama Tailgate and you get 15% off your regularly priced item. I was talking to those guys yesterday. They were telling me that Legacy Continues, which is all of those great Nick Saban moments, has been selling, and you'd want to get one before they sell out. So make sure that you do that, and you can do that right now at newlifeart.com. But appreciate all of your guys' support there with one of our great partners. Also want to tell you about our friend Chad Anderson. We call him Catfish here. ChadwickAnderson.com. You know him. He's helped over 10,000 families get into homes, including this one, this studio in our home, thanks to him. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Couldn't have done it without him. He goes the extra mile for you. I know he's a little bit humble when he talks about it on here, but we really, really couldn't have done it without him. He's an investment consultant and an Airbnb expert. When I bought my house, I knew nothing about home buying. I didn't know any of the rules and all the hurdles and everything. And he walked me through it. I probably called way too many times, but when it was all said and done, I felt like I owed him a huge debt of gratitude because we got it. We got our home and we're really happy with it. So check him out for yourself, ChadwickAnderson.com. All right. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. Don't forget that we will pop on if anything breaks today during signing day and talk about it. But it feels good right now. Alabama going into today, the number 2 recruiting class. Once Ryan Williams signs that piece of paper at 10, I think the rest of it, I mean, what a ride it has been. What a ride it's been. All right, roll tide, everybody.